What is up, turtles? This is Krik with Blackout Outdoors, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Böker Plus Kwaiken flipper knife. Böker Plus sent this over to us so we can share it with you. So I'd like to thank them for doing that. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video to hear my final thoughts and impressions of this Kwaiken. But this version, it's going for like $111 on Amazon, and this features the VG10 steel and titanium scales, which gives this knife a beautiful look, in my opinion. And this Kwaiken is designed by Lucas Burnley, and we can see there is only a single position for the pocket clip. It's only a tip up. See on this side, it's a nice and clean, streamlined side. You have the pocket clip over here. And it is have a nice, it's a nice strong pocket clip is what I'm trying to say. As I said before, there are titanium scales on this knife, and the liner system, this is a liner lock as well, I'll show that, is stainless steel, and then you have this little titanium, little insert right there for strength. Small lanyard hole. So like I said, this is a flipper style knife, and you have to know your local laws and regulations for this style of pocket knife. But flippers are really fun to use, they really are. And you can see right here, this is where the action takes place with the index finger. And there's no jimping on top of this, but you really don't need it. It's a little weird at first when you start flipping it open. Maybe you're thinking there's some jimping, but once you get the correct technique, there's really no need for anything abrasive on top of that. All right, let's get this puppy open. That is so fun to use. There's a really smooth action, because let me show you on this side of the blade. This rides on the IKBS ball bearing system. You can see right next to the IKBS is actually the logo, and there's a bunch of ball bearings in here on both sides of the knife. I haven't taken this one apart because I'm not the best at tinkering with folding knives. But, and I'm not exactly sure as well if this is the caged or uncaged version of the IKBS, so if you know, let me know, I'd really appreciate that. But either way, this is riding on ball bearings and it's very smooth. And this is a VG10 steel blade, which is a higher quality steel in my mind. And the more, or excuse me, the older I get and the more knives I use, pocket knives, I prefer higher quality steel because they keep their sharpness longer. And while it might take a little bit longer to do maintenance in the sense if you need to resharpen it or strop it, in my mind, having a higher quality steel that stays sharper longer is a huge plus in an EDC knife. This is a 3.5 inch blade. Overall length of this knife is 8 3/8 inches, and the weight's like 5.4 ounces. So a knife this size, that's a pretty appropriate weight. And when you're wearing it in the pocket, because if it's slim design, you really don't notice it in your pocket, which to me is a huge prerequisite for wearing a knife, you know, as an everyday carry type thing. Hollow grind, like all Böker Plus knives that I have used and reviewed on this channel. And you can see the Japanese influence when the blade is open. Just have that really classic, excuse me, coming from the handle, that sweep on the blade. It's just a really, really beautiful Japanese inspired design, and this is a really popular knife. And the Kwaiken Mini has actually been released this year, which I'm interested to try. I know Stony is as well. So if you have you've used or owned the Kwaiken Mini, let us know your impressions on that. This is a liner lock. The newer versions I believe are frame locks, but this has a really nice thick liner, and there's a little depression. The camera's picking that up, which makes it really user friendly for one-handed closing.
I think that's rain.
Wind. Had to pause the video for a second because the sky just opened up. It was so humid out, and out of nowhere, Stony just, I could see him just looking off to the side, and just rain from this direction just came roaring right to us. And this trail was just brown with water running from runoff. So had to pause and seek some shelter, but now I want to finish this video and give my lasting thoughts and impressions on the Kwaiken. So a couple points I want to go over about this knife. And the first one being is the smoothness and lack of texture on the handle scales. And there's no debate that this is a really slick knife, but it really doesn't hurt this knife, in my opinion, for its use or how it feels when you're using it, because this isn't a workhorse. This isn't a knife you want to buy to cut through cardboard all day. It's a really beautifully designed knife, slim in the pocket, and you know, it works well for pretty much any normal folding knife task. So the last thing I want to touch on is the edge of this knife. And this is pretty much the factory edge because this knife hasn't been used really hard. It's been carried for a while. Most EDC knives, you know, open up letters, open up packages, making a quick slice. It's not really hard use. And I was going to do a paper test to sort of illustrate that. Because of the humidity, it's really not going to be an accurate representation. So you're just going to have to take my word for it that this edge did really not come sharp, or as sharp as maybe I would have expected. Now there are some issues I've seen with Böker Plus having quality control, and edge sharpness I believe is going to fall into that category. So this brings up a point or question I want to propose to you. Being that this knife is right around $111 on Amazon, featuring the titanium scales, the VG10 steel, higher quality steel, I believe you're getting some really nice materials for the price compared to what else is on the market in the folding knife realm. But I want to ask you, if you bought a knife like this, or you bought this knife and it didn't come, let's say, not even shaving sharp, but sharp, you know, not tearing paper at all, being able to cut paper with ease, the length of the cutting edge, would you be upset if it was unable to do those simple cutting tests? Now, from my perspective, right at this price range for these higher quality materials, I'm right on the fence. Now, I have a lot of practice and skill hand sharpening knives and other cutting tools. So if I'm buying something that I know is not going to come really sharp, I know I can get it sharp. And that's not really an issue if I'm expecting it to come with just a, you know, sort of working utility edge. But with this knife, I'm right, like I said, I'm right on the fence of expecting it to come pretty darn sharp, and understanding with the higher quality steel and the titanium scales that, you know, I might take it not being as sharp as I want and, you know, forcing me to put the edge I want on it. So leave a comment, let me know with this circumstance, what do you feel, what do you think about this knife not coming really sharp? That's all I have to say about this knife. I'd like to thank our patrons for your support. If you'd like to support us through Patreon, that link to that will be in the description below. Like I said before, let me know what you think about this knife and not coming sharp. I'm really interested to hear your opinion about knives on the market and what you expect from them coming from the manufacturer. Until the next video, this is Krik with Black Owl. Later, turtles.